formerly the singer, musician, artist, that's him. Brought back in summer with slow mild lang days. Brought back to a solitary spot in deerskin, salved or embalmed. And then they say brought back, applied with salve, they've embalmed him, and brought back as a fish in his proceeding. In other words, like a fish in the bottom of a boat. Now this gives you a little flavour of it. We can't obviously not tell you, because these poems run into hundreds of lines and go into fantastic detail, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. So what we've got is a bit of final proof, as Jim would call it. If there's anything I've left out or you've got any questions, we'd be very, very happy to try and answer them. So what you've got is really Welsh-speaking Indians. Wallam Olam is their record. Watlam Oplam in Welsh means the organisation of everybody. Bit odd. We've got the Melungians with blood factors, and they're a strange lot. Melungians have got I'm called a dulcimer, which is like a lap harp, is it? Or a lap guitar? Well, identical instruments in Wales called a crwyd. I don't know. Metallurgy, forensics, dating with fallen hoof, 6th century manuscripts, a mass of them, not one or two, a mass of them. It's a celebrated event, and we've got the epigraphics of decipherment, and we hope to get DNA. And what we're going to try and do is find out if we can get some of the family over there, get a little bit of bone or a little bit of something, DNA it, and we've got a university willing to do it, and if we can get some items over here, if we can get this jawbone of Madoc, which is in the Smithsonian, then a DNA test will link them up and there's no argument. End of story. Carbon testing will help. Do we have some lights? Should we go to lights? Let the dog see the rabbit? Right. If you have any questions, we'll do our best, because we've covered an awful lot of ground. It's a massive subject, and we know that we can't really tell you everything.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How far west supposedly had the Welsh traveled? And the reason I ask is because several, last year, maybe early last year, I saw a report on unsolved mysteries of carbon.
Sure. We find them all the way out in Oklahoma. There were 70,000 of these people, so they could have gone everywhere. 700 boats, each one holds 100 to 120. They could have had 770,000.
Yeah.
And of course they brought animals and other things too.
They brought horses for the sake of it.
Yes. It's tagged to the Bat Creek stone. We've got Madoc's name on the Bat Creek stone. Unfortunately, 3 years ago when I went up there, they said they had it. I got there. Secretary of the Ancient Kentucky Historical Association set me up with an interview with the archaeologist, and he said, gee, we've lost it. But they've got something like 40,000 bones tagged in the Smithsonian. I don't think they know what they've got. But we've been consistently asking. We have a work order ready. We have a laboratory standing by to do the DNA and the carbon dating on the mummy. We're not getting very far. They seem to be a little closed-minded up there, but they do want to prove that it's not an American Indian. We got that going for us because there's a pressure on to bury all the bones that are up there. The Bat Creek is in Loudoun County, Tennessee, and there were several mounds there, and it was dug by archaeologists 1886, and all that stuff was taken to the Smithsonian, and it sat up there in a drawer for years, and that's when we found that stone, which they thought said comet for the Hebrews and all that stuff. Words look Hebrew a little bit. Letters look a little like Hebrew, but they were Coelbren, and we have massive Coelbren now in writing. A stone with an inscription on it this long that the archaeologists looked at in the 50s and said, made by natural causes. But every scratch on it went in the same depth. It's in a straight line, equally spaced. The doggone thing translates. A little hard to defend that it isn't writing. Yeah. Oh. Did you bid on the book? Up here. Yes, sir.
Is there any research being done to see if the Hopewell Indian complex in Southern Ohio, there's any link between all of those mounds and that they might be Welsh in nature instead of this
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no funding for this kind of work. If there were, we'd be right on it. Absolutely. They were Welsh. They were British. No question about it. We find all of the things around that area are British. The forts, the mounds, the whole thing. These people buried their kings. Oh, Let me tell you about the snake. Well, you've heard serpent mounds, right? There's a couple in Kentucky. There's 4 in Ohio. There's some in West Virginia. And we heard a fellow down there talking where we were presenting a couple weeks ago, or last week, down in Columbus, Georgia. And he says, well, he showed all the pictures of these snake mounds, and he says, that's the only place in the world they've got them. And he's going, what's going on this continent, man? You know, a few centuries back, they were all over the place in the British Isles. Don't they know that Patrick, who was a Welsh monk, started out in 434, went up into Ireland to rid Ireland of the snakes? It's all in the legend. There's snakes all over Ireland, but not stone snakes. And he lit his fire in them, and he lit it early in the day, and when the snake worshippers came, it had been desecrated, and he rid Ireland of stone snakes. Yes.
There's proof coming out now from civil engineers and surveyors.
Yes, sir.
That these mounds up there in Ohio, they're laid out in the increments of the mound. That a lot of those circles are 528 feet in diameter, and then also the surveyor today, the surveyor team that we use today is showing up in the increments of all those mounds.
All the mounds. Now you know.
Our measurements based off the British measurements.
We have a hunch that their measurements were just as accurate as ours. Their days and their times and their clocks and the things they set up, very accurate, very accurate. They knew that this comet's coming back. I don't know if you saw the paper today or not, but somebody said, hey, you know, there's going to be a comet coming back here in, what is it, 2020, 29? He's been predicting 2015. Victor Klub is pretty close to that. It's a recurring thing. It says it could wipe out the continent. It gets a little scary. Hope we got that space telescope up there to see it far enough in advance and use some of those nuclear weapons that they stockpiled in Russia to divert it, because it's coming. And those ancients knew it. And the comet symbols, and the dragon of Britain is the comet, all over the old stones that we find. Mind-boggling. We don't ask you to believe this. We ask you to look at it. And yes.
What kind of writing did they find in Charlestown?
Charlestown, Indiana. That's the stone that you saw there that had Uther's name on it. And what he didn't tell you was at the very top of it, it shows you a picture of a boat, and it has a square box in the boat. Amazing. Had to go through a strait. Had to go through the falls of Ohio. It's 20-foot drop. Seven people.
You can interpret the signs around the boat as the 2 kids that have been mutually together. And there's 7 dots and 7 people in all. 2 in Wales, you've got a lot of duplicate words. You've got, more means to see, but more means multitude. And then you've got guid means a goose, but guid means cognition, recognition, presence. And you've also got many of these dual words. And we found that when we were looking further back, about 2000 BC in the east, these things came into play with sort of hieroglyphic signs, right? And therefore the word Dewey means 2, but Dewey also means the ruler. So wherever you see 2, you can often infer the ruler. And that picture actually reads around the boat. 1 went mutually together with the ruler to pass through mutually together. And there's a boat with a box in it. So whether it refers to this body in a box in a boat, I don't know. So that's what Jim is getting at, but that's what it actually said.
Yes.
So what we're saying here is, or what we're referring to is not only was King Arthur II
Yes.
killed in America,
Yes.
but was his brother.
Yes.
Yes, Madoc's buried here.
Okay.
Arthur's buried back there because they took him back.
Okay, they took him back, but in succession, why wouldn't they take Madoc back? Because he would have been naturally succession.
He may have been dead ahead, but they took 2 of his sons back for success.
Yeah, there were other sons and there were other brothers about. He had a brother St. Paul, a brother Idneth who's murdered, a brother Frioch, who is Rioch in the life of St. Finian, going to marry the daughter of the king of the Picts. And so there were other people flying around who were in the picture. Also there were sons around. Gwaedneth is mighty in blood, Morgan and Ethael. So, there were other people in the frame as well. And Madoc was probably better off with a bigger country of his own.
It ought to have his son as
He had apparently one son named Llaki, means the glittering one, who was murdered. There seemed to be a lot of mayhem going on at the time over the throne. There's some confusion over whether Morgan and Ethael, who then ruled, are sons of Arthur, but other records clearly indicate they're sons of Madoc. And I'm inclined, the problem is a Welsh word, and they say ap. It means son of, but they also use it for successor to. So if a brother succeeds a brother on the throne, they say like Howell ap Rhys, but they're actually brothers. But Howell ap Rhys could be son of, you see. And it does cause some confusion, and it's taken a lot of weeding out, but it's highly likely that Morgan, which means begotten overseas, that's what the name means, is a son of Madoc. Okay.
Amazing. Wouldn't it be nice if Alan can get Arthur up and bring him to the Falls of the Ohio for a theme park? Fantastic. Yes, question back here.
Nothing's impossible.
Yes, we're doing DNA from a son to a father or a grandfather or a brother, or whichever we can get to. They're establishing parental responsibilities now in the courts from fathers to sons and assigning parentage. All we're doing is a 1,500-year-old paternity suit. And but once we've got that, now there's going to be a lot of people throwing stones at us, and we're waiting to have it because they're going to say, oh, it can't be. If you saw the Louisville paper, the guy looked for 3 months and said, I really believe there was never a Madoc. He's a real man. We found him. We found him in '89, and we knew where he was. And we just can't get to him.
Yeah, this Madoc is clearly, a very important man in the 6th century. Cousin to the king is the Bishop of Tylo. He became an archbishop. And you get the life of Tylo written out. And one of the major events in the life of Tylo is a visit to his monastery by Madoc, who prays with him. The fact that they actually mention that Madoc is there means Madoc is a biggie. He's a big man. And you also get the charters of Lambeth Cathedral being signed by King Meirig, and alongside him signing next is Madoc. So Madoc is again a very important person. And every indication, and again you don't get mentioned in the Welsh triads unless you're a leading prince or a king, and Madoc is splattered all over the triads. So he's a very important person indeed. He's no small fry. Okay?
Are there other mountains around where Madoc's?
Absolutely, but unfortunately that area is now underwater, or it's right up to the mounds. Yeah, there were 5 or 6 mounds. We've got a description of the area. Would be neat because we think there would be DNA in those mounds also. The archaeologists that dug in there didn't want the bones, they wanted the trinkets. That's what goes in the museums. They threw everything away. Thank God one of them kept the jaw. That could be a problem because there were 11 people in that mound. If he caught the wrong jaw, he's probably a descendant, probably would match up, but it won't be a father-son relationship, which we're looking for. Back here.
Earlier you said one of the names meant color or dark skin.
Yes, Luid.
What was it?
Cluid. Cluhad.
How is he related?
Well, he's said to be a son of Madoc.
And could actually,
Jim Michael has a text for the poem and a translation, so if you get in touch with Jim, I think it's great on that one.
could actually be Morgan, because he was conceived overseas. That's what Morgan means. So we're looking at somebody who was probably 10 years old, who was back with him, talking to King Arthur, saying, hey man, we ought to go over to this place. This place is no good here where we are. We can't plant